everyone to the December vlog. What a year it has been. It has been such a roller coaster for me, and I am glad to be at the end of the year where I can hopefully get off it, because I hate roller coasters, and hopefully 2026 is going to be a lot smoother and easier ride. We'll see how things go, but I've certainly learned a lot throughout the year, which hopefully I can take forward into 2026 with me as well. We will go through a few more of those things throughout the vlog, and we'll see where this vlog actually goes. The last couple of weeks have been super busy. I've been busy with online orders. The last couple of weeks in the shop have been insanely busy. Not quite where I would like to be in terms of how long I've been in business for, but definitely an improvement upon last year. And I've had a lot more locals finding me now, especially now all the roads open. We've got some beautiful restaurants open up down the street, and more of the locals are actually coming down this end of the street. So it's been absolutely fantastic since that last vlog. The last 2 weeks have just been crazy in the shop. In fact, last week was so busy throughout the week, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to give Sunday a go as well. So I actually worked 6 days last week. Sunday wasn't as good as I had hoped it was going to be, but it was still actually worth coming in. So if this week is quiet, it does actually help with that. The reason I say if this week is quiet, even though, as you saw, we've got 9 days till Christmas, today the weather is really funny. It is really grey, miserable and overcast and very windy. We had some big storms come through early this morning, sort of thing. Didn't wake me up, but did wake Pepper and hubby up. I just slept through them. I was just too tired. But today it's really windy, very grey out there, but it's still very humid as well. So I think there's a few more storms around. So we'll see how today actually goes. Now, before we do go much further with this vlog, what I do want to do is cover 2 things. The first of them is, I do want to say, because I said that I would announce this should it ever happen, is that I have at long last received the refund for the soaping conference that was meant to be on earlier this year. I'm not going to say anything more about it. I said my piece in one of the vlogs about it, and that's all I'm going to say. I won't respond to any comments about it either. I've learned a lot from it. I've closed that chapter in my life and I've moved on. I am grateful that I have got my refund, but that's it. Let's move on. Now, the other thing I do want to actually talk about is, after I put out that last vlog, the company that made me these soap boxes and silicone liners did reach out to me. If you missed that last vlog, I came into the shop one morning and found a couple of the silicone liners that were waiting to be washed up. Looked like someone had gone at them with a knife and shredded them. I can tell you they were not damaged by a knife. I don't have knives out and about in the shop for safety reasons. There were no knives used that day, so they were definitely not in contact with knives. But my sort of gut instinct is that the silicone that is used on these may have been compromised by the lye that goes into soap. It may have just over time been breaking down the silicone liners, and they've just had enough and just let go. That was kind of my thinking of what has actually happened to them. I did have, as I said, the people that made me these soap boxes and liners reach out to me with a couple of solutions. The first was to replace the silicone liners, but they did also say that they had a feeling that the silicone was not of the quality for the amount of soap making that I do. They're ideal for those that do minimal soap making, but when you're doing loaf after loaf after loaf, the silicone may not be the best grade for, you know, that amount of soap. So based on that, they didn't think I would want the replacements, and that was correct. Plus the fact that they are about 3 years old. In fact, they are 3 years old. It's not very old for a soap liner, but you know, it was a number of years ago. So most other companies that sell molds would just say, well, you know, you've not looked after them or done something, in tough luck. So I said no, I didn't actually want the replacement liners. They did also offer to make me either just blank boxes that I could line, or boxes to put these new liners in that I was talking about. And I have actually said no to both of those for various reasons. One of them is the fact, yes, it happened 3 years ago. They are a small business. They are based on the other side of Australia. So it would actually cost them a lot of money to replace the wooden molds for me. And being a small business myself, I know how much that sort of thing can actually really hurt the hip pocket. So I have said no. What I did, however, do is that George put me on to a place that he's been using for silicone liners, because he needed to replace some of his liners too. So he put me onto this place, and when I actually looked, they did have a liner that was the correct width. It's a little bit longer, and it's a little bit taller, but you know, you don't have to fill your liners all the way. So I ordered one of them to make sure that it was the right dimensions, because if you've seen any of those vlogs or stories on Instagram, you'll know that I have been ordering molds only to find out that they are not the right sizes when I get them, not what the suppliers say. So I ordered one in, and the dimensions all worked perfectly. So I ordered another 3, and George actually went to the men's shed down near him. He is down near Sydney. And he approached one of the local men's sheds. I spoke about them in my last video. They're like a little organisation where men who are retired or, you know, by themselves, or whatever situation these men are in, can actually go to this little group, and they do a lot of woodworking and other crafts, and then they sell them at markets and things like that. It's like a little, it's a group for men to go to and interact and stuff. So I asked him if he could ask the men's shed if they can make me these boxes. I sent him one of the liners down, so that they've got a reference to put it into. They came back with a price which I was absolutely stunned at, and I have given them a little bit more because I know they are a charity organisation, so I've given them a bit more because I just felt that they weren't charging enough, and George has arranged to get those made up for me. I could have gone to our local men's shed, but they don't have a phone number on their shed, and they're not open in hours that I can get to them. So George is doing this for me, and hopefully in the new year we'll have some new boxes to put these silicone liners, and then I can show you. So that's that. They're the 2 things I really did want to address. What I need to do now, I did actually come into the shop early today because I had to go and pick some stuff up, and also hubby was getting his car serviced and he's taken my car. So what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to get my door open that little bit earlier just to see who comes in. We've got some candle refills to make. They were dropped off to me on Sunday, so we're going to make some candle refills today. And I need to make up some more gift packs because they've been selling really well on the shelf, and we've got a few gaps and things there. Other than that, I've got some soaps that I need to tidy up. And other than that, I've got not much else to do. So we'll see where the day actually takes us. Honestly, the last 2 weeks have been so busy. And the week I bring the camera out, we've got nothing. But anyhow, I'm going to go and get that door open, see how many people we can get for the day, and then we'll just potter around and see what we can do. got a couple of minutes until I go and close the door. I'm just making sure that the wax tank is off. It's one of those things, you know, when you leave home, you think, did I shut the garage door? Did I turn the iron off? I leave the shop going, did I turn the wax tanks off? Did I turn the oil tank off? And I would hate to get halfway home and think, I've got to turn around and go back and make sure I've turned them off, only to discover I have. But I always double check them before going home just to make sure. It has been crazy busy in the shop today, so I really haven't actually achieved a lot, even though I'm absolutely shattered. I managed to do all of the refill candles, so they're all done. I've also got a little tester one there that I'm looking at changing my jars once my current range have gone. I've still probably got another 6 months worth of the current range of jars, but I am starting to look at new jars because the place that I was getting my original jars from generally have little to no stock these days, and they don't do the screen printing like I originally got on them. So I am looking for alternatives. So I'm going to start doing that process now, so that when I have used them all, I'm not, you know, running around like a headless chook trying to work out what to do. We're going to start that process now. I realized also there were quite a few containers that were empty with the wax melts. They've been really popular lately, so I just did a quick batch of the ones that needed topping up. And then I also realized I should have made some unscented tea lights, which I completely forgot. So I'll probably make those tomorrow. I didn't do much recording today because I've just been so busy with people coming in and out of the shop. And the funny thing is, every time I had the video or the camera going, no one came in the shop. And the minute I turned the camera off, because I thought, yeah, you've seen enough of me pouring candles, people would come into the shop. And it's obvious that you're turning a camera on, so I don't like turning the camera on when people have walked into the shop. So not much filming today, I am sorry, but we'll see how the week goes. It could be like this all week. It could be a very, very short vlog. We'll see how it goes. So I do have to come in early tomorrow because at long last, I'm getting the NBN in the shop, but we'll talk about that more tomorrow because I really want to get home before this weather gets any worse. Good morning. It is hopefully NBN day today, but I'm not going to get too excited until I actually see the NBN man here because I'm a little bit worried. I'm not 100% convinced it is going to happen, but we'll see. So it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's an hour and a half before I open up. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the next hour and a half, but I know that if I had left it a little bit longer to come into the shop, that any bet the NBN man would turn up at 8 o'clock, and because I'm not here, they would go and it would have to be rescheduled and the fees would have to be paid for them turning up. So I am here knowing full well that they probably won't turn up until 12 o'clock if they are going to turn up. It's just one of those things. It's the way it always works with these organisations. But we'll keep positive. Hopefully he will turn up. The reason I'm actually concerned that it's not going to happen, as I have spoken about it in other vlogs before, is that this shop actually has 2 addresses, and it's what caused me a lot of confusion when I was looking to actually rent. This shop has a legal address and then a postal or shop frontage address. Now the reason it's got 2 is because this group of 4 shops on the front here is actually part of the hotel, which is out the back, and the hotel has a different street address. So we're kind of like on a junction like this. We're about halfway down this bit of street, and then you've got the hotel down this bit of street. They've actually got an L-shaped block of land. So their land, you know, the short bit of the L is on Otranto Street, comes across, and then the tall bit of the L is on Bullcock Street. And after they built the hotel, they decided to build these shop fronts across the front. So we basically get Bullcock Street frontage, but technically our legal address is Otranto Street, and it does cause a lot of confusion, especially when people go around there like myself looking for the shop and actually can't find it because that's not where it is. So with the NBN, they have had to register for the legal address to have it connected, so the Otranto address. So it's been said that this is the address they're turning up to, and I know they're not going to find this shop over on Otranto Street. So hopefully whoever is turning up has enough sense about them that they'll get on the phone and say, I'm here, I can't find you, where are you? Or even go into the main building of the hotel and ask where I am. And hopefully whoever is on the desk knows that the shops are out the front. So we'll wait and see what actually happens. It does cause all sorts of issues because I was waiting for the modem to be delivered the other day, and the telecommunications company sent it to the legal address, and I got this notification saying it's been delivered, and I'm going, no it hasn't, and I'm not paying for a modem that I didn't receive. And then I just thought, I'll quickly give the hotel a ring and see if they've had the parcel delivered, and thankfully they had, and they were just starting to sort the parcels out. So I don't know if they would have realised it was for me or what, but thankfully I did actually think to give them a call and say, have you got my parcel? So I was able to retrieve that. So yeah, we'll just wait and see. I'm not going to get too excited until they actually arrive. Once they arrive, then I know it's all happening, and hopefully then we'll have some nice fast internet. Paul, I thought this box was a bit big for what should be in it. That's because there's a whole heap of paper in it as well. These are some new containers for the facial gels and eye serum. Yeah, those two bags are in this massive container. There's some new containers for the facial gels and the eye creams, and I have actually noticed I've only got 3 eye creams sitting on the shelf, so I'll actually go and print up the recipe and maybe start making some of the eye cream this morning while I'm waiting. Other than that, we've got to label up all of those candles I made yesterday, unmold the melts and get them wrapped and put away, and then we'll see where else the day takes me. It's going to be a very long day for me, considering I'm in an hour and a half early. I don't know what I'm going to do. I do know I've got a little bit of paperwork that I need to do, so I might actually just sit at the computer as well and do a little bit of that. Oh, I'm throwing my scissors around the bench. So I'm going to go and get this lot put away, all that paper. Oh, I'll have to go down to the recycle bin this afternoon. Oh, and I do actually have an order to go and pick and pack. I almost forgot. My hubby's auntie placed an order for some soaps last night, so I'm going to go and pick all of those, get those wrapped and sent off this afternoon. So let's go and get this day started, and hopefully I make it through the day. Okay, so I've just had notification that they are on their way. Now, that does mean they're going to get here for when I actually open the shop, which is a real pain in the butt. You'd think that it being a business address, they'd try and come outside of business hours, but it is what it is. I am having big problems with my computer. Sometimes I can't get my touch screen to work. I've got that working, but today it's decided it doesn't like any of the printers, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. It likes the label printer, so we've printed up all the labels for those candles, and it's liking the receipt printer. So at least those two things will keep me going, but it won't print to my post office label printer or to my main printer. And I don't know why. So I'm going to have a bit of a fiddle around with the cables. I was about to print up the order that came through and also print up the eye cream recipe. But it looks like I'm going to have to spend some time doing the cables on the computer as well. Oh, I'm so tired of it. I really am. I've got a brand new computer, so I know it's not the computer. It's one of the cables somewhere. That's the problem, but I don't know whether it's the USB, the print cables, or what's going on. I'm suspecting it's something to do with the USB, seeing as two printers aren't connecting, but I'll have a bit of a play and see what we can come up with. Yay, I've been able to get the printer to work. I had to just kind of unplug a couple of the USB things and just plug them into new spaces, and it decided it was going to work. So I might need to go and buy myself some new USB pluggy things. I'll see what happens. I am hoping though, once we get the NBN fitted in, that printer should then be able to, instead of being cabled, should be able to be Wi-Fi connected instead, which is one less cable for me to have to worry about having under the counter there. So fingers crossed they do turn up and can find me today. Well, they are going to turn up. Let's hope they find me today. So I'm actually going to go and get all the ingredients out ready to do the under eye cream, so that while he's here I don't have to keep going backwards and forwards into the area where he's going to be. And I'll also get that order all picked and we'll get that one packed up as well. So I'm going to go and do that hopefully. And I'm also going to just open up the shop door early. It's about 20 minutes before I'm due to open, but there are people walking up and down, so it would be silly not to be open while I'm here now that I've got everything running. So let me go and get my ingredients, get the door open, and then we'll carry on with this day. These soaps packed into the box, and what I'm going to do now is show you how I tie my bows. I've had a few people, I've done a lot of reels over on Instagram, Facebook, showing packaging of or packing of orders, and I had a few people message me saying, can you please show how you tie your bows? I have showed them here on YouTube before, and I have showed them on Instagram a couple of times now. The problem with doing them on Instagram is that you only have a limited amount of time to do things, so it has to be sped up. So I thought I'd take you along, and I did say to those who were really interested, I will do it on the vlog so you can watch me tie my bows on my parcels. And what I do is a version of a Tiffany bow. So Tiffany, the jewelry company, when they tie their boxes up with their jewelry, they do what is called a Tiffany bow, because they were the ones that came up with this idea. And the bow actually doesn't have any knots in it. Really? It's all right, some kids just run by and tried to hit my sign. Who knows? Anyway, as I was saying, Tiffany developed this bow that has no knots in it, so when you pull on it, the bow actually just unfurls from off the parcel. It's like this whole experience of opening up their parcels. Now, I do a version of a Tiffany bow because I've never been able to get enough coordination to do their bows properly, and I just find I get a better result. So I'm going to show you how I do my version of a Tiffany bow. So I start off with a tail in my right hand here, and I usually have just a little bit in my hand there to create the bow. I pop it over the top of the box, and then I wrap it over and under the box and bring it back up that other side. And normally people do that sort of crossover on the bottom of their parcels. We're just going to do it on the top of our parcel, cross our bows over, keeping that original tail in our hand. We're going to take the long length of the ribbon and take it under the parcel and back up this other side like so. And what I love about this bow is that this box now sits flat because the bottom of the bow is nice and flat. And this was one of the reasons I learned how to tie a Tiffany bow, because I hated that my parcels rocked when you put them down on the side. So I wanted to work out how to actually do them flat on the bottom. I mean, you could now just tie a regular bow, but I still don't like putting knots into my bows. I just think it takes away from the experience of opening up a parcel. So I've just cut my excess ribbon off, and let's try and get you a bit higher up so you can see what I'm doing on top of the box. All right, so this is that original ribbon that I was holding on to from the beginning, and you can see it comes up through that sort of angle there. I'm going to take my new tail and take it to where that ribbon comes out, take it over there, and then I push it under and back out on that diagonal. So I'm coming back out this side, and then we end up with our bow like that. This is where mine actually differs from a Tiffany bow. The Tiffany bow doesn't do this crossover, but I just found that I didn't have the patience to do it without kind of locking the ribbon in just a little bit. And from here you just tie a bow, and I like to do bunny ear bows because I can actually control where the tail of my bow is going to go. So bunny ears is when you just make 2 loops and then you knot them together. And the reason I like to do it is if you do your bow upside down, so for me this is upside down, when you tie your bow, the tails both fall in the same direction. Quite often when you tie bows, you find it so hard to get your tails to point in the same way. And when you do it upside down, you can see that the bow is up at me and the tails are down. So you can actually control which way your tails go on your parcels, and they just come up really nice. It is a shame that this wrapping paper is not a little bit more random and it's very up and down. But there it is. That is how I tie my my bows. So we end up with a nice level parcel, and all people have to do is pull the tails and that will come undone. So they don't need to untie knots or anything like that, because there is nothing worse than getting parcels that have got knots in them and can't get them undone without getting a pair of scissors. So that's how I do my bows. Now, it's not looking very good for this NBN. It's now been 55 minutes since I got the message to say that they're on their way. I haven't actually seen one drive by because I keep watching out there. I haven't actually seen an NBN truck drive by, but you know, there's 3 other ways they could actually get into that Otranto Street without me seeing. So hopefully it is just that they haven't yet arrived, but almost an hour since that message, that's not like, mind you, it is a government body. So for those that don't know, NBN is our National Broadband Network system for the internet. So that's what NBN stands for. I think they're government, or they've got something to do with the government, so they run on their own times. We'll see. I will be annoyed though if they've just been and driven off and not attempted to contact me to see where I actually am. And if that is the case, I will be talking to the service provider and saying to make sure that the landlord is not charged. It's a $300 connection fee, which is why I never did it, because of this whole thing of where do they actually go. If you get it wrong or they can't find you, you get charged that $300 a second time for them to come out, and that's why I just never did it. But I will say to the thing that if they don't even attempt to call me, they can't charge if they've made no attempt to actually discover where I really am, because I can't be the only, in fact I know I'm not the only place that's got 2 different addresses. So we'll see, but it's not looking good for getting that MDN fixed today. But I'll keep you updated. What I'm going to do now is what are we going to do first? We're going to get the under eye cream on its way, and then I'm going to unmold all of the melts and get those wrapped up and into the containers, and just keep an eye out for the MDN truck. I did see them here 2 days ago out the front, so they must have been attending another shop. But as I said, we'll see what happens. Let's go and start making eye cream. All right, so some good news. I was getting really worried about this whole MDN thing. They messaged me 9 o'clock to say we're on our way, and I've been waiting. It got to 10:30. I thought, they're not turning up. They've not even called me to say, where are you? This is really wrong. And I then had some customers come into the shop, and I thought, right, once this customer's gone, I'm going to email the communications company or the service provider that I'm using for the internet and just say, look, they've not been, I don't know what to do. And as I was serving this other customer, and the guy walked in from the service providing company, and I looked at him, I said, MDN haven't been. And he says, yes, they have. I said, no, they haven't. He said, no, they've done their thing. I said, well, they've not come into the shop. And he said, no, they didn't need to. They've just done all their stuff downstairs at the big telephone box. It was like, so you mean to say, I didn't say this to him, but I'm thinking in my head, you mean to say I actually didn't need to be in the shop for that to have happened? It's like, oh, and this isn't the first time this has happened to me. I remember when I got the internet put into the shop in Cleveland, and we had it connected there, and I remember getting message after message after message from Optus saying, you must be at the premises, you must be there, you know, someone must be on site, someone over 18. Like, I got so many messages about it, and I've turned up to the shop half an hour before they were meant to be there. And then I actually was there for a full hour after my appointment time. And I ended up calling Optus going, look, where are they? Like, I've been told I must be here and no one's turned up. And they said, oh, they didn't actually need to come into your shop. You didn't need to be there. And so, but that's what all the messages said. I was so cross that day when they did that to me. But yeah, again, today I actually didn't need, despite having messages that say someone must be at the premises over the age of 18, I didn't need to be here. Yeah, so, oh well. But he then came in, he's had to replace some of the plugs because they were a bit corroded on the wall, but he's got the modem in and it's working. Oh yes, we have finally got fast internet in the shop, and it's just made such a huge difference. As soon as I started pulling up some of the pages that I usually use, they came up so quick. When I've scanned products into the point of sale system, it's coming up instantly, whereas there used to be like a little bit of a lag, not a huge lag, depending upon how busy the phone network was, but sometimes there would be a good 5-second wait between the FPOS program sending the amount through to my FPOS terminal, and I used to joke with people saying, oh, we'll just checking to see if they want to be friends today and talk to each other. But now it's pew, and it's through and it's on the thing. So, and the stories, uploading stories onto Instagram, instead of them taking me minutes, and I do mean minutes. The longest it ever took me to load a story once was just over 9 minutes. Now they're happening in under a minute. So people are going to get bombarded over there. But I was just so super stoked. It's the little things that sometimes make life so much easier, so much more pleasant. So really, really happy that that's all now connected. Now we just need to wait for the bill for the modem and the first month worth of internet. The connection fee should actually be going straight to the landlord with a bit of luck, or at least to the agent, because that's what it did say in the email that I got about it. So, I am so super stoked. It's going to make such a big difference. Literally, when I first moved into this shop, I had days where I had to close because I could not get the EFTPOS terminal to work. And if you can't take credit card, you basically can't trade, and the EFTPOS terminals, they used to weren't so reliant on the internet. They were reliant on the GPS system or the phone system, but that's what my internet was based on. So, but no, it's all good. We've finally got fast internet. I have almost finished unmolding my little melt pucks here, so then I'm going to get them wrapped up in the biodegradable film. I've got wax melted in the tank over there, so we're going to make some unscented tea lights in a bit as well. I also need to stop and have a little bit of lunch. Hopefully I can get through the day. I'm starting to crash into a wall at the moment. It's just the excitement of it all, the sort of panicking that they're not turning up and stuff like that. It's kind of like, I need to sit and take a break. But I've just got all those unmolded, gonna get them all wrapped up. And yeah, so exciting. I've also got the under eye cream over there. That is all, got the first two phases blended together. I just gotta wait for it to cool down before we add the cool down. It's been a really productive day. Let's get on with it. All right, it is Thursday morning and I've come into the shop about 15 minutes early. I need to try and get these printers sorted out because I got them sorted in the morning and they were, well, at least the the regular printer was working, and then I went to do my shipping labels later on in the afternoon, and the Munbin printer wasn't working, and it was still telling me that the drivers were unavailable for both of these printers. I then tried playing around with the USB ports, still couldn't get either of the printers to print. So thank goodness I actually do have the second Munbin printer, and I was able to get my my shipping label printed for the parcel. But I need to get these printers sorted out today. Now the one printer, I am going to be able to hopefully get that onto Wi-Fi, so that will be one less USB cable. Where did I put my phone? There it is. So I'm going to try and get that connected to the Wi-Fi. I've got a feeling it's not the printers that are the problem, and I don't think the drivers are the problem with the printers. Basically, underneath my counter, we've got all these printers under here. So the pink one's the Munbin, that's sitting on top of the label printer. That was working fine yesterday. And then we have the standard printer. And then up on the bench up there, I have got a receipt printer as well. Now the Munbin printer and this printer here are actually on this USB port, and the other one is on the other USB port. So I actually think there's more of a problem with the USB port than there is with the printers. So I'm hoping that if we get the regular printer onto the Wi-Fi, I can get rid of one of those USB plugs, plug the Munbin into the other USB port, and hopefully it will all work. So let me get that done this morning before the shop opens. Hopefully this is going to fix. I hate doing technology stuff. I really do. So I suppose the first thing to do is to actually plug the computer in and see if it actually wants to play nice today. Maybe it was just that the computer needed rebooting or something. I don't know. But let's get that plugged in. See if we can get the touch screen going. No, that doesn't want to go this morning. Oh, I tell you what, sometimes, and again, I don't think it's the screen that is the problem. I do think it's something to do with the cabling along the lines. Oh, come on. All right, touch screen is working, so that's one good thing. Let's close you down gently. Sometimes if I move the computer the wrong way, the touch screen stops working, so which is why I think there's something with the cables. I did actually put a new HDMI cable onto the screen, but I think it might be the little bank thing, like the where you plug all the different things into it, that might be out. So we've got that bit on. Let's see what it says about the printers and scanners today. No, it still says driver unavailable. So first thing I'm going to do is try and get this regular printer onto the Wi-Fi. So I need my phone. All right, so let's see if we can first of all get this printer connected to the Wi-Fi. So I'm just going to follow the instructions. Oh, allow, and see if I can get this one connected on here. Well, that did not work. It just blows my mind that humans can make all these other wonderful technologies that do work all the time, and yet no one has ever made a printer that will work without fail. I need to get it to actually work today because I have a few things I need to do this afternoon that involve printing stuff up. I also need to get that Munbin printer working as well for shipping labels. We don't have any orders to do today, but just in case any do come in. Luckily, the other two printers hopefully are still working today. So I have to go and get my door open because it's taken me too long to do this. I've got about 15 minutes over time. So I should have my door open. There's people there. So I'm going to go and get the door open, try and get this printer fixed. I think I'm just going to unload it and start from scratch. I then have the unscented tea lights that I need to get packaged up and onto the shelf, and also package up that under eye cream. And then hopefully I can move on to doing a few of these new ideas that I've got going. But for now, I am going to go and get my door open and pop number 7 up onto the calendar. Oh my God, an hour and a half later, and I have finally got everything working on the computer. I was about ready to go and just go, I'm not doing today, I'm walking out. But no, I persisted with it. I ended up having to completely uninstall the regular printer and then reinstall it from scratch. So got rid of everything on the computer that was related to it. Popped that back on and got that working. So now that's connected to the Wi-Fi. We've got one less cable under there. But the other thing that had happened overnight, like yesterday when I left, the Mumbin printer was in my list of printers. And this morning when I've gone and had a look, the Mumbin printer's not there at all. It's like, well, where's that gone? I've not uninstalled it. So then I thought, well, I'm going to have to get this reinstalled. So once I got the one done, I reinstalled the Mumbin one, and it wouldn't print. Then I finally got it printing, and it was printing like on a, I think I've thrown it all in the bin because I was just getting so frustrated with it. But instead of printing a full shipping label size, the shipping label was like a quarter of the page. It's like, oh, how did I fix this the last time? When I first installed the Mumbin printer, I had this exact same problem, and I couldn't remember how I had fixed it. And I'm sitting there looking at it. And then it dawned on me, I'm actually dyslexic with numbers, and I shuffle numbers around in my mind, and I will often say wrong numbers, write wrong numbers down, or I will say one thing, you know, the numbers just get shuffled around. And when I sat there looking at it, I thought, oh, you've shuffled the numbers of the model of the printer around again. This is what I did the first time I loaded this printer as well. So I had to go and uninstall the printer that I had loaded, go and find the correct printer to install, got that one installed, and then it wouldn't print. It just wouldn't send the printing message. And what I hadn't realized was that the installation was taking a long time to actually install the printer. So I was being a bit impatient. Then it says you need to restart the computer to get the new printer software to work. It's like, okay, so I've closed everything down thinking, hope no one comes in, got the computer restarted, but then I couldn't get the touch screen on the computer to work again. And not only that, the mouse had fallen off, the keyboard wasn't working. I was like, I give up. I absolutely give up. But I persisted, and I've got it all working. The Mumbin printer's now the right one, and it's printing right. I can print up on my regular printer, so I've got a new recipe here that I need to make up today. It's just all working. It is all working. Thank goodness. So I am a little bit behind now because, yeah, it's taken me an hour and a half to get that done. So the next couple of jobs I'm going to do, I'm going to box up those tea lights and package up that eye cream, and then I'll move on to a couple of things from there. Technology. Who invented it? Good morning. Happy Friday. I am in my rather messy office. I am so looking forward to having some time off over Christmas. I will be having Christmas Day and Boxing Day off. I'll also be having New Year's Day off, and then the Sundays in between as well. And I am so looking forward to that. This sounds so terrible, but I am going to spend my time actually cleaning the house and getting things organized over Christmas sort of time. Like probably from about October onwards, I get so many deliveries and so much stuff just gets dumped into this room, and it gets to a point where it irritates me so much that I actually find it really difficult to work. If there's mess around me, I find it difficult to concentrate, whereas if I've got a nice clean space, I can concentrate on things. But it's just got to a point where we haven't had the time to move things, and because I've got so much limited space in the shop, I can't take everything down there. So I tend to leave the stuff that I don't want to be heat affected gets left in the house here, and the rest of it goes out into the shed. So I've got an awful lot of stuff here that just needs to be put away, and I'm so looking forward to being able to do that over the Christmas break. Miss Pepper, she is crashed out on the floor. Hello, Miss Pepper. What are you doing, darling? Are you being good for a change? Hey, we had a big play just before hubby left, so she's a bit shattered now. And I'm just sitting here editing the vlog over there before I head off into the shop. Now, as I said at the beginning of this vlog, it has been a roller coaster of a year. And if I sit and really be honest with myself, it's been a roller coaster for about the last 2 years, if not a little bit longer. I will be completely and utterly honest and say that there were points earlier this year where I was ready to chuck in the towel on anything that was not directly Soy and Shea. So anything that was not directly related to the running of the shop and the business, which sounds a bit weird because everything kind of really does help in the end. But I was kind of at a point at the beginning of the year, I was actually going to give up on YouTube. I was going to stop making the YouTube videos. I actually don't earn a lot of money on YouTube. I know you see a lot of people who say they earn thousands of dollars on YouTube. But I don't. I'm lucky to get a couple of $100s out of YouTube each month, which is still, enough to cover little bits and pieces, but I actually don't make a lot of money. And some of that is because I don't want to bombard people with advertising on my channel. So I actually did stop watching a lot of creators quite a number of years ago because they weren't monitoring the adverts that go out onto their channel. When YouTube started kind of putting automatic advertisement placements in, they automatically place ads every 3 to 4 minutes. And there was some creators I was watching and they were not monitoring where these advert breaks went in. And I got so sick and tired of watching them, I actually stopped watching so many creators. And I thought, well, if it's bothering me this much, there must be other people as well. So I need to make sure that my adverts are well timed. So generally you see adverts in between different days, or if I'm making a soap, between the different actual processes. So making the embeds, then an ad, make the soap, then an ad. So I try to get them well placed. And because of that, I don't have dozens of ads in my videos. And that's one of the reasons I don't make a lot of money. And I was at the point earlier this year, and I know I said it in one of the videos, I had so many people commenting about how tired I was looking. And I actually said in one of the videos, if anyone else says that I look tired, I'm not making any more videos. And I meant it. I actually really meant it at that stage. If another person commented on how I looked, I was going to stop making videos. I'd had enough of it. And then there was another vlog that I released earlier this year. One person made a comment, and it wasn't done nastily or anything, but one person made a comment, and then a number of other people either jumped on board with their comment or posted their own along the same lines. And it absolutely devastated me. And I just thought, that's it. I'm not making any more. That is it. And that's when the following month I put out another vlog saying this was the vlog that almost never happened. And I now understand that the reason I was taking so much of this stuff to heart rather than just thinking, oh, whatever, was because I was going through perimenopause, and I had been for quite a number of years. That was why I was looking so tired. It's why I didn't have the energy to do anything. It was why I wasn't at burnout. I really wasn't at burnout. I know what burnout is in a business. I've been there with one other business, to the point I had a arts and craft business, and I actually got to the point where even now I still look at some of my stamping and other stuff that's over in this cupboard over here, and I look at it and think I really should use it, and think, no, can't do it, don't want to see it, don't want to touch it. That to me was burnout, when I actually lost the interest, and to think about doing something related to that business was just like a hard no, not doing it, don't want to do it, can't force me to do it. And I'd got that burnout in that business because I was running classes, and it was really quite complicated. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing because of the classes. I was restricted with what I could do, and there was a whole heap of other things that went into it, and I knew I had burned myself out with that business. Whereas with Soy and Shea, I knew it wasn't burnout because I still actually really enjoyed making the candles, making all the current products that I had. I couldn't get the energy to make anything new, but I could definitely... I definitely still wanted to make stuff. I still wanted to run my business. So I knew I wasn't at burnout, but I couldn't understand why I didn't have the energy, why, things were really bad. And I kept thinking it had a lot to do with when we'd lost Lucy, because it had hit me so hard, and I just didn't feel I ever really recovered. But I think because I was going through perimenopause at the same time, it all just compounded and became this, I don't want to deal with any of this anymore. And I honestly did think about shutting down anything that was not directly Soy and Shea. So I wanted to still keep the shop going. I wanted to keep the website going. I wanted to still keep making stuff. But I wanted to get rid of all the extracurricular sort of stuff, let's call it. So get rid of YouTube, get rid of Patreon, get rid of anything that was causing me extra work, because I just felt so stressed by it all. When my GP actually explained what was going on, and the GP before her should have also picked it up because of all the different things that were compounding that I'd seen her about. My current GP said this is why all this other stuff was happening. As soon as she opened my eyes to that and we got myself back on the right track, I wasn't feeling so overwhelmed by everything, and I thought, no, we'll keep YouTube going, because although it's an extra thing that I do, and it does put a lot of pressure on me to get those videos out and everything else, when I sit and look at my analytics on my website of where traffic comes from, especially the DIY body care website, a lot of traffic comes from YouTube. So I don't want to give YouTube up because a lot of traffic comes through there. So it actually is a direct part of my business. I also didn't want to give up Patreon because I've got a lot of people who've been following me there, and it was a good part of my income. I can tell you it's not anymore. And this month's income, if it doesn't hit my minimum requirements, I'm going to be really, really upset, because it's not, at the moment, it's not worth the time that I do put into it. And I know a lot of people don't want to be part of Patreon because I don't leave my recipes up there 24/7. I've explained it a million times why they're not available all the time for everybody. And it is to protect my Patreon members who have been with me for the last 5, almost 6 years. And all the, a whole heap of stuff that goes into that. But the more I sat and thought about it, I thought, no, I'm going to keep Patreon going for as long as I can. And now that I've kind of got my health back on track, I am feeling a lot better. I have got that energy. I'm feeling like my old self again. I do still have days where it's like, I can't do this. I'm completely over it. I'm tired. I don't want to do it anymore. And I know it is my body just going through all its changes, and I just have to wait to recover from it. But it is really good to be feeling like my old self again and having that passion and drive to share things here on YouTube, to keep going with Patreon and sharing more about the business side. For me, Patreon is not about the recipes. Patreon is about sharing my experiences of running a business, everything that I know from having been to university and studied it, operating my own business and sharing all the tips and tricks I've learned along the way. Because as I always say to people, you can have 20 or 30 fantastic recipes, but if you don't know how to sell yourself or where to go to sell yourself, or any of the little tips and tricks about having a successful market day and things like that, there's no point. There is no point having all those recipes. There are businesses out there that have one lousy product, and yet they are so successful because they know how to run a business. And that to me is what Patreon is about, is showing people how to run a successful business. And you can have one lousy product in your range, and as long as you know how to sell ice to Eskimos, you'll have a really successful business. So that's why I do still keep going with Patreon, so I can share my sort of experiences and things like that. And I'm not feeling so down about doing all of these extra things on top of what I do, because it does take a lot more out of me than what, you know, just running a regular business. You've got to set time aside to do all the extra stuff. But no, it has been a bit of a roller coaster year. I'm glad I'm almost at the end of it, and I am hoping that 2026 is going to be a better year now that I've got that full understanding and I'm feeling so much better. I'm still, as I said in other vlogs, I'm still not 100%. I'd say I'm probably about 98%. I still do have those days where it's like, ugh, I've just had it. But I'm almost back to my my old self, which just feels absolutely amazing to do. But speaking of work, because I have just been yakking on for a fair bit, I am going to, in fact, no, I'm not. Yes, I am. I actually want to stop off at the shops this morning. I was so hoping not to have to go in early today, but I actually do need some things from the shop. And it's like, do I stop off this morning or do I stop off in the afternoon? And I know I am so much better at doing things in the morning. Like when I finish work, the last thing I want to do is go into shops after I've been in the shop all day. So I'm thinking it's about 8:30. I probably have about 10 minutes until I need to leave. So we might actually just turn all the computer off, go and get Miss Pepper a biscuit, and then I'm going to head on down to the shop, go and see if all the printers are working. See if we can get the touch screen to work. The touch screen's really important. Like normally, like on my home computer, it's a touch screen here, but I don't usually use it. But it's so important down at the shop, because when you're using a point of sale system, rather than trying to use the mouse, it's just easier to tap the screen. And tapping the screen, you can still keep your eyes level with where the customer is. You don't lose as much eye contact as if you're reaching down for the mouse and then moving it around. You can actually still keep and maintain that eye contact, and it's just quicker and easier to use it as touch screen. So that touch screen thing for me is really, really important. And I've used touch screen for my point of sale for so long now, because I was using it on a laptop at the market. So to go to using a mouse is just, yeah, it's too hard. But we're gonna head into the shop and go and see, make sure everything is working, and see where Friday takes us. It's actually a beautiful day out there. It's the first day. We've got beautiful blue skies. All right, I'm just waiting for the computer to turn on. Hopefully I'm not going to make my hair any grayer than what it is. It's taken its time to actually start up. I have had an oil burner going in the shop over Christmas just to try and sell the Christmas melts. Don't usually put the oil burners on because there's so many other smells in here. People generally do say it smells really good without putting the oil burner, but it has actually helped with the selling of some of the melts. So it might be something I consider doing as we get into the sort of year. Oh, look, the touch screen is working. But yeah, so I've just put the burner on. I have got a melt in here called Sugar and Spice. People were liking that one yesterday. Let's close the lid, gently move the laptop back under the cover. And the touchscreen has stopped working again. Ugh, there has to be something wrong with these cablings. So every time I move the cables, they just stop working. And I can hear the computer ping, 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 saying that it's connecting and not connecting to like the USB stuff. But yeah, the minute I close it down, it stops, which is really frustrating. Come on, computer. I know it's not the screen. Well, it better not be the screen because it was an expensive screen. So let's try plugging the screen straight in. Please work. Come on. Nope, still doesn't work. All right, we are going to have a fight over this. Luckily, I do still have a couple of minutes until I open the shop up. And then once I've got the shop open, today the plan will be to make the cream I was going to make yesterday, but because I did sell out of the sugar scrubs in store and I had people asking for them, I had to make that my priority. Oh, come on. So I put off making the creams yesterday, but that will be my number one priority for today, is to make that cream once I have got... Oh, are you working again? Once I've got this working, making sure that all my printers are connected. Technology. We really, really need it. So it's a necessary evil to have, but I just wish, I just think that's unplugged itself again. Oh, I give up. Whatever. Do whatever you want, computer. I'm going to go and put number 6 onto my calendar. Going to go get the ingredients for the cream and just let the computer do whatever it wants to do. All right, let's go. Oh, it's just decided it wants to work. Yay! All right, let's not touch it. We'll just put our little keyboard in there. We won't touch anything else. And let's go. Okay, so I've got about 10 minutes until the door closes. It's been a bit of a funny sort of day. I honestly thought it was just going to be a complete washout for a day. I've had probably more foot traffic through the shop today than I've had in the days leading up to today. But everyone was just browsing, and I know I've spoken about it before, but it's really got to me today. The amount of people who have walked into the shop, walked around the table, walked out and gone thank you on their way out the door. I know so many people said that they say thank you when leaving the shops because they feel rude not saying anything at all. I know some people did also admit that they say thank you as a way of saying thank you and sorry for not buying anything. And I can tell you that is how it comes across on a retail front. To me, I know some people said that they say thank you for letting me look. You don't need to thank a shopkeeper for allowing you to look in their shop. That is the whole point of having a shop. You are meant to come in and look, and I should be thanking you for coming in and looking, not the other way around. You shouldn't thank any shopkeeper or anyone that is selling anything. You shouldn't have to say thank you to them for allowing you to look. That just kind of defeats the purpose of being in the selling industry or the retail industry. But so many people have said it today. And although you might say it once when you leave a shop and then you go home, when a shopkeeper hears it a dozen times in a row, it really does get very... I don't know how to kind of explain it. It really puts you down. It really makes you feel really sad just constantly hearing thank you and then people walking out the door. If I was given $5 every time someone had said thank you to me today, I would have taken more thank you money than what I actually earned on my till today. That's just the sad reality of it. And it gets very, very hard. So can we try not saying thank you on our way out of shops? Especially if you've not had much interaction. I can understand if I've actually given up what I'm doing and I've come over and I've interacted with you and I've talked to you and I've given information. I can understand that as a thank you because I've imparted my time. But when you simply walk into a shop, walk around the table and walk back out, and you've not taken that time away from someone, you don't need to say thank you. Maybe exit and say, have a nice day, or nice shop, or something different to thank you. Anyhow, that's my little bugbear. I have got a batch of night cream over there and I am so happy with it. My night cream, my original night cream recipe had all these beautiful ingredients in, things like evening primrose oil, camellia oil, there were extracts and all this sort of stuff. And it was one of my most expensive lotion or creams on the shelf. It was about $25 for a tub of it. And I couldn't sell it for any less than that. It should have actually been a little bit more than that as well. But because of the price of it compared to like my $16, $17 moisturizers, nobody was buying it, or very few people were buying it. Only the people who absolutely loved the stuff were buying it, and I couldn't convince new people to purchase it. And when I moved into this shop, I haven't made a new batch of the night cream at all. So I made the decision that once what was on the shelf was gone, I wasn't making any more. And it took me about, I think it was probably about 8 months of being in this shop to sell what was on the shelf. And I thought, no, we're not going to make it anymore. And of course, I got lots of people saying, oh, but we want the night cream. So I've actually been working on reformulating my night cream so that I did end up taking out some of the more expensive, luxurious oils and bits and pieces, but I have replaced it with other ingredients which are just as beneficial, but is going to allow me to bring it down to a price point more in line with all my other moisturizers. And one of the things I've actually popped into here is coenzyme Q10, which is a product that is absolutely fantastic for the skin. It is full of antioxidants. It helps skin to repair itself that's been damaged. It helps to protect skin from environmental damages. Coenzyme Q10 also helps to tighten the skin, like improves elasticity and things like that. It's an absolutely amazing ingredient, and I've been playing around with it, decided to add it into the night cream so it can do its thing overnight, and hopefully I'll have that out very soon. I've got to take photos and that sort of thing. I've also been working on a new, well, it's not a new, it will be a new product. I've been working on this for a couple of years. I first started working on this when I was in the Cleveland shop, and I've finally been able to crack it. We've got lip oils, which will be coming out. This will actually be the recipe that I bring out on the DIY body care in January, and it will be the formulator experience recipe. I did actually finalize these two, and although I like this one, I wondered if I could tweak it just a little bit more, and I thought if it doesn't work, I've still actually got a fantastic recipe here, and I'm really liking the tweak on here. It's come up this beautiful consistency. So this isn't quite a lip gloss because we don't get the correct ingredients to make lip gloss, but it is a lip oil, but it has almost got that consistency of a lip gloss. Absolutely loving it. So this is going to be, as I said, the recipe. What I have, I've got two different ones. One of them uses cerebellina, which is a refined sort of beeswax, and then this one here is actually a vegan friendly version of the recipe. It uses, I'm not going to say it on here because I can't remember what it was called. I know it as fumed hydrophobic silica, but it's actually got another name which is just escaping me right now, and I think I've actually put it in my system as that name. Oh no, I did. Silica dimethylsilicate is what I use in here. I wasn't originally trying to use an oil thickener, and I was getting there with getting the right consistency, and I went to go and order some more a couple of weeks ago and noticed that it was out of stock at the only place that sells it. And then I stumbled across this other silica dimethylsilicate, complicated names, and decided I'd have a go at that, and I am loving the results, and it's so easy to work with as well. So these are going to be the recipes that come out on the DIY body care, and for those that are part of the formula experience, you will actually get both recipes and a tube of each of them, so you can decide which recipe that is going to be more for you. So I'm going to get all of that finalized over Christmas, and we'll get all the stock ready to send out with the January subscriptions. And I'm also thinking, because this is going to come out in my range, that we'll probably also have a few tubes of these to give away to Pamper Club members as well. But it is 4 o'clock. I'm going to go and get my signboard in, and then I am going to head home for the day, and we're going to come back in for Saturday. And I am hoping it's going to be busier tomorrow. Last week, Friday was really quiet, and then Saturday was crazy busy, like crazy busy. So hopefully we're going to have a repeat of last week, but I'm going to go and get my signboard in, and then I'm going to go home. Oh, well, Miss Pepper doesn't want to play. It is an absolutely beautiful day today, so hopefully it will bring a lot of people out, and hopefully bring them to the shops and not to the beach. We are out here this morning because I thought I would give you a bit of an update on the vanilla orchid. What's wrong with you this morning? Hey, has your other one gone to work and he's not playing with you? She's been playing ball with hubby this morning, and then he's gone to work and she's become quite miserable about it. You can't have both of them. Hey? Yep, want to make a bet? I can have both. Anyway, let's have a look at this vanilla orchid. So in the last vlog, we were pollinating the flowers that came up on the orchid, and I was really surprised it actually did flower this year. It had had such a rough sort of year before, how I'd taken it off the wall when we moved house. It wasn't looking very happy, and then to my surprise, it threw off 5 flower spikes. And we didn't get too many flowers on 2 of the spikes. I wasn't expecting much off of those ones, but the other 3 spikes we did get quite a few flowers, and I was out here every day pollinating them, and I was concerned that not all of them were actually taking. I could see that one flower definitely did pollinate, And in between all those sort of pollinations, we had some quite rough weather. We actually did get a fair bit of hail here. We had at least 2, if not 3 days when we had hail, and I can actually see there's a bit of hail damage on the plant. A couple of the leaves got torn in the hailstorms, and we'd had lots of thunder and storms and all sorts coming through. And sadly, only that one flower did pollinate. So you can see we've only got that one bean. Out of all of those flowers, all of the other ones just dropped off all of the other flower spikes that are around, which is quite sad. But honestly, I'm surprised I've even got one vanilla pod on there, so that little vanilla pod's going to spend the next 9 months growing and ripening, and then we'll be able to take it off the vine next year, and hopefully when it flowers again next year, fingers crossed it does, we'll be able to get a few more vanillas off it. But I'm happy that I've still got one, because that poor plant went through so much in sort of the last couple of years that I was surprised that it even flowered this year. So, and let alone give me 5 flower spikes. So hopefully we'll get some more next year, but yeah, sadly we'll only get one vanilla off it, but thankfully I do still have about 5 or 6 vanilla pods from previous years still left, so I'll still be able to do my tallow infused balm that I do in winter. But yeah, sad, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Don't you want to play with me? Am I not the cool one to play with? Come on, out of the way. Look, come get your ball. No? Is it too warm now? Hey, is it too warm? All right, we'll get you in the cool before I go to work. Okay, so we're down at the shop now, and on my way in, my phone went cha-ching, and we've got a order from William, one of my Pamper Club members, long-time supporter as well. Usually always stocks up with soaps whenever I'm doing the vlog, and I actually didn't announce this time that I was filming the vlog. Usually I do, and then people get their orders in for me to pack them, but I've been so busy with online orders that I hadn't actually announced it this time, and then this week we've been really quiet, but we are going to get William's order all packed up. All right, so we should have a big enough box here hopefully for William's order. Hopefully I won't have to go up to the next size, because it will be absolute oversize. William has grabbed one of our lemongrass and Persian lime room sprays. This size bottle and these fragrances, that there's 4 left, are actually retiring out of the range, and we've bought out a new look room and linen spray. It's in a slightly smaller bottle because everyone said that these bottles just lasted way too long, so that they couldn't actually change the scents over quick enough. So we've actually bought them out in slightly smaller bottles and a new range of scents. This current range has been in my range for at least 4 years, and I think it's time for some fresh scents, and I will also be doing seasonal scents in the room sprays from now on. And those new room sprays are now available on the website. Now, he has also ordered 2 of the surprise soap bundles. When I make the wholesale soaps, I ended up with 1 each of all of the soaps left over that couldn't go into the bundles. So I've actually just done them up as a little surprise bundle set. They come just with a belly band, so you know what's on them. They're not stamped, no fancy packaging, but they are done at a reduced price. I think I worked it out to be, I think it was about $7.50 per soap bar, $7 or $7.50. It must have been $7.50 per soap bar, so that's in there. So it's cheaper than all my other soaps. And then he's also stocked up in a few others, and hopefully we're going to get them all into this box. We've got one of our wonky rainbows. He's grabbed one of our lemon burst, a Claytanicals avocado and mint. I think he actually might have one of those in one of those packs as well. We've got sweet pear, we've got fresh, sweet chai, and spa day. So I'm going to try, I don't think it's going to work. It's this room spray. The room spray is causing me the problem here, but I am going to try and get these soaps in here, see if we can. I don't think we've got room to stack them like that. I think I'm going to have to go up to the next size box, which, yeah, is going to be overkill, but we're going to have to do it. So I have just found another box, and it's probably actually a little bit smaller, if not roughly the same sort of size as the other one I was just trying to use. But sometimes it's actually the dimensions of the box which allows you to get more into something. So this one's actually taller than the other one, and I just think we're going to be able to get everything into this one with just a little bit of a clever packaging. It's looking much more promising. The next box up that I had, you know, the similar sort of style, is actually considerably bigger, and everything would just rattle around too much and really push the shipping cost up. But that is looking really good. That's gonna fit in there nicely. So we're just going to put a little bit of paper shred in here and all the other usual bits. And then we're going to get William's order all wrapped up, ready for me to take to the post office on Monday. We're still wrapping in Christmas paper at the moment too. All right, so while I'm just doing the finishing things of today's job, yesterday I did make my fresh shaving soap. As I was turning the Christmas lights on, I noticed that there was only actually one of them sitting on the shelf, so I thought better make a quick batch of that. And I make my shaving soap with a dual lye hot process soap making method, and I absolutely love the method of doing it. Where's my sticker? There it is. Now technically you should cure your soaps just to give them that best possible life, but when I make my shaving soap I actually use very minimal water. Quite a bit of it cooks off as well during the sort of saponification process of that cooking. Let me put this tape on here. And because of the way I make it, I tend to find that my shaving soap doesn't really need to have a full cure, so I can pretty much make it and then pop it out onto the shelf. And most people who use the shaving soap leave the lid off while it's sitting on their side, so it does actually continuously air and get better. And I've never had anyone complain. Everyone says how long the shaving soap actually lasts for and things like that. So I love making the shaving soap in the fact that I can make it one day and then pop it out on the shelf the next day and start shipping it as well, and not having to cure it is just absolutely brilliant, which is why I continue to make my my shaving soap as a dual lye hot process method. I have seen and tried ones which are made with cold process, and I just find they don't tend to lather as much. Like I've tried using my cold press soaps as well for shaving soap, and they just don't lather as well as what the shaving soaps do. So I do enjoy making that. So we actually do have to pop lids on those today, get them onto the shelf. I also have to pot up that night cream that I made yesterday. I'm going to make some full tubs, which I'm going to be taking some home to do some photographs. I will also be doing up some sampler tubs, and I've got something planned in January for those. So I actually won't be releasing the new night cream until January. We're not getting the orders in at the moment, as you've seen this week. So I don't think there's any point releasing new stuff when people aren't ordering, because then, like, I launched my room sprays and I haven't had anyone going for them because I think everyone has already done their ordering for the year. Whereas if I'd waited and released them in January, I probably would have got a lot more interest in it. So I'm going to hold off on the relaunch of the night cream just to make sure we get enough interest in it. So they're two of the tasks. And then the other task I have for today is to oh, this is looking so nice, is to actually get this one into some tubes and stuff. I'm really happy with that. It's thickened up a little bit more overnight, which is what this particular thickener does. But I'm really, really happy with the consistency. It does have almost that gloss sort of look rather than an oil sort of look. If I grab one of the other tubes, if I know where I put them, these ones kind of, it doesn't hold, it's probably really hard to see, but it actually doesn't hold its consistency as much as what this one is looking like it's going to hold. So, and don't worry, those tubes are for me to take home. And it will actually leave, I don't know if we can, it's so hard to show, but it is going to actually leave a slight stain on the lips, not a massive stain. We're not doing lip stains, but it will actually add a little bit of color over the lips just to add that little bit of shine. So I'll do something like these sort of lip colors. I have contemplated making them so that they will stain the lips a lot more, but I know that I'll never have the right shade. So I'd much rather just kind of go for the gloss sort of effect. But I'm gonna get that all tubed up as well, because I'm really happy with that. And then we'll just see where the rest of the day takes us. It is Saturday, it's my short day, so we're not going to be in the shop for as long as normal. Hopefully it's going to be a busy day. I have already had one of my regulars come in this morning, and that's so good to say. I actually now have regulars in the shop. It's only taken me 18 months to actually get regulars. Like I used to have down in Cleveland, I used to have regular people that always came into the shop. Up until now, it's been a lot of one-off customers, but now I actually have regulars, and that is just such a fantastic feeling. And hopefully over the next sort of 18 months that the rest of my contract is for, we'll get even more regulars and see how things go. But I'm going to get this one all sorted, and then we'll get on with the rest of those jobs I've just spoken about. I've got about 10 minutes until I close the door, and I've just done a quick sort of stock take of what's been going on today. It's been one of those funny days where I've wondered if it actually has been busy or not. The space between when people are coming in have been quite big gaps, but then all of a sudden I have 3 or 4 people in the shop, and it's been a pretty good day. I'm really happy with where I've finished my week again. This month has been far better than last year this month, so I'm really, really pleased about that. It does mean that I am fine for my January rent, and I've already got half of my February rent as well. So I know January is going to be really, really quiet. I've got a few tricks up my sleeve just to try and generate that extra revenue, but we'll see how things go for that. But I have just gone round and double checked the shelving, and I've noticed there are gaps everywhere. The foaming face scrub, that sold out today, so I've got to make a new batch of that next week. The soaking salts have been really popular today, so luckily I actually have big boxes of those out the back, so all I have to do on Tuesday when I come in is print up the labels, pop them into the bags and back out onto the shelf, so they're going to be nice and quick and easy to redo. I've also got to do finish off my face masks. So my face masks, I'm changing from these little glass jars into pouches like this, and I finally almost sold out of them. I've been trying to get rid of the glass jars for a little while now so I could swap to these pouches. These pouches are just, they're much cheaper for me to put in than glass jars, because not only do glass jars cost more, the weight of shipping them into me costs more. It always bumps my shipping up and things like that. So I wanted to change to these pouches here. The pouches will actually have more powder in them than the glass jars, and they're going to be cheaper as well. I have had the glass jars on sale for the last couple of weeks, and I'm almost sold out of them because they've been super popular today. I've had them in gift packs, and I've sold quite a number of them as gift packs today, and I had 4 separate jars sitting on the shelf just by themselves, and I've only got 1 left as a separate and 2 gift packs left, so only 3 jars left. So what I do have to do, because there's this great big hole on the side, is actually finish filling up all these pouches, get them back on the shelf. I also need to take photos of them on my days off so I can get these loaded onto the website as well, seeing as we've only got a couple of those glass jars left. So that's super exciting. It's just the little things. Been wanting to change them for so long. I just think this is going to make it easier. The clay face masks, I can't sell them enough. They are, or upsell them enough. They are so nice. It's a really quick, easy way to give yourself 10 minutes of a little bit of me time. Doesn't take much effort at all. You can sit back, read a book, drink a cup of tea, whatever you want to do while the face mask does its thing for 10 minutes, and then you get on with your day, and you just feel so awake and so alive. But I do appreciate that the glass jar version of it was quite expensive. So I'm hoping now that we've got them in the pouches, these will start flying off the shelf a little bit more, and people will understand why I love the clay face masks so much. So anyhow, we'll get that done. I did also want to just highlight this a little bit more. You've been seeing me put on my my aprons. I was gifted one of these crossover back aprons. I've been wearing it for months and months. You would have seen it in other vlogs on videos and stuff. So I've been wearing these cross back ones. You can see they cross over on the back. I've been wearing this style of apron for quite some time, in between all of my others, and I was gifted 2 actually. One was a much heavier canvas and one was a nice light one like this one. And I didn't realize until I started wearing these crossback aprons how much pressure a regular apron that goes around your neck actually puts on you throughout the day, because I'm in my apron for most of the day. And when I started wearing these crossback ones, I noticed when I went home, I didn't feel so tense across the back of my neck. And it slowly dawned on me, it was on the days when I wore my crossover aprons, I felt better. I didn't get that tension headache and things like that. So I've just made a decision. All of my sort of over the head, round the neck aprons, they've had it. They really, really have. They look feral. They've been washed so many times, can't get them any cleaner than what they are. So I've decided, right, I'm going to start the new year with brand new aprons, going to get rid of all the ones that hang around the neck. And I have been buying myself, I've got 2 more here, these cross-back aprons. So now I've actually got 5 of them, 1 for each day of the week. And I tell you, I can't recommend them enough. If you do wear an apron all the time, I highly recommend that you get these. I was a bit concerned at these ones. I went and purchased these ones, so these ones weren't gifted. I was a bit concerned because I didn't know if they were going to be any good with the price point that I paid for them, but they're fantastic. This one is so comfortable, and it's still, like, even though I've thrown things down myself today, it still looks nice and clean. It does take a little bit to work out the first few times how to get the crossover to work and how to put your apron on and off so you don't struggle with it every time, but if you are in aprons all the time, I highly, highly, highly recommend you get yourself these ones that cross over on the back, and you are going to save yourself so much pressure across your neck. I have got a Amazon storefront thing of where I can show things that I've purchased and used, and I have put some of these crossover aprons. I'm not so keen on this one. I have put some of these crossover aprons in my little Amazon storefront. This one's not going to go in. Oh dear, this one's not very nice. This one's a little bit different. I got this one because it goes over the shoulder sort of thing, but it's this would be good if you weren't making soap. It's a nylon-y sort of one. I'll be honest, this one came up. I was on that Amazon haul thing, and this one came up for 76 cents. I wasn't expecting a lot, but this actually might be quite good for doing washing up and stuff because it's that sort of waterproof plastic. I got it because it looked like it might be a bit easier to go on because of the way it is. Yeah, and it feels comfortable. I just don't like using these shiny plastics when making soap. So I could use it for lotions. It's for the soap making because that's probably blocked the microphone all through that, sorry. But I don't use them through soap making because the soap just sits on this and then you get it all over your arms and stuff. So, but anyhow, that's my recommendation. Get yourself some crossover aprons. Not this one though. But for 76 cents, I can't complain. I should have bought another one of these ones. These ones, I think I only paid about $7 or $8 for them off the Amazon haul. But as I said, I will put links to them if I can in my Amazon shop front, and the links to that are down below. I'm going to finish getting myself all sorted. It is pretty much 2 minutes to 2, so I'm going to go and get myself all sorted to shut the door, bring everything in. I did briefly, very, very briefly contemplate coming in tomorrow, but I'm tired. I'm really tired, so I think I'm going to let myself have my days off this week and not try. It really wasn't that worth doing 6 days last week, not for how I'm feeling this week, and I want to enjoy Christmas, so no, I'm going to give myself tomorrow off. So I'm going to go and get myself all sorted, get ready to go home. And then I have one last thing for you guys. Oh, I'm home. I did not realise, hello my darling, this is mine. Did not realise how tired I was until I actually got in the car and got ready to come home. Just made myself a cup of iced coffee because I actually do have a few, ow, that was my foot. I do have a few things. I know it's your chair. I've got a few things that I need to do, so I'm hoping this coffee will just enliven me just a little bit. If not, this one will. Am I sitting in your chair, my darling? Okay, you can go and sleep on your bed or something. But we are at the end of the December vlog. I'm going to pull my chair just a little bit closer so I'm not so far away, or I'll pull Pepper's chair a little bit closer. So we are at the end of another vlog, and thank you so much for joining me and for supporting me throughout the year. As I said, hello my darling, I know it's your chair, but I'm just going to borrow it for just a little bit and then you can have it back, okay? So as I said, it has been a bit of a roller coaster of a year, and there were points at which, as I said, I was thinking about stopping doing YouTube. I was thinking about stopping doing Patreon. I was thinking about stopping doing anything that was an extra activity other than going into the shop and running the business directly through that. I'm glad that I didn't stop doing any of it, because at the end of the day, those things actually are indirectly impacting Soy and Shea. I do get a lot of people come into the shop. I've forgotten to open her door, hang on. As I was saying, I do get a lot of people come into the shop saying that they've seen me on YouTube. In fact, at one point I was getting a lot of people saying that they were up at a local cafe and they'd watched some YouTube and I came up, and then I was like, you actually come in with someone. Why were you watching YouTube while you were with someone? But anyhow, if it works, it works. I'm glad I haven't actually given all of that up, and I will continue to do Patreon for as long as it's not difficult. In terms of, there are a lot more rules and regulations coming in in Australia about international earnings and things. I do declare my international earnings, but it is getting to the point where everybody is asking for forms and all sorts to be filled out, and I really don't want my personal details out in all sorts of places. So if it does become any more difficult, if the government does make it any more difficult to run these sort of things, it is something I will have to consider. It has actually become very, very difficult now for overseas shipping. As you know, I can't ship overseas with my insurance, but I got a message from Australia Post the other day. Even more countries are now actually putting import taxes on anything being sent overseas, and it said that businesses now do not have the option to put things down as a gift. So even if you are actually physically sending something as a gift to somebody, you can't send it through your business account anymore. It has to go, any business transactions through Australia Post have to have a dollar value, so that the countries can charge the VATs and stuff. And a few of them, I think it was the EU were now charging a flat fee per thing coming in. And there was something about New Zealand as well. So it's become really, really hard to do all these sorts of things. But while I can, I will still keep doing it. But on saying that, I do have plans for 2026. I have spoken about it a little bit throughout the year and on this vlog about going through perimenopause. And I can tell you that I almost destroyed my business over the last 2 years because of it. My husband keeps sitting there saying, stop being so hard on yourself, you know, you didn't do that. And I've told him the honest truth is I did. I almost destroyed my business over the last 2 years by not understanding what was going on with my body, with my health. And I do feel it's very important to actually share this with other women out there who could be going through the same thing. I've seen so many women shut their businesses down who are around my age. And I think, have you actually just shut it down because no one's helped you understand how you're feeling? Or is it truly that you have just burned yourself out and you are going on to better things? So I do feel it's very important to share it. I know the economy hasn't helped with the way business has been going, and a lot of businesses are struggling because of the economy. But when I sit there and look at myself, I can't blame it all on the economy. I lost a lot of the happiness, the emotions, the bright bubbliness that I had on social media. I stopped posting the stories on Instagram. This was something I used to do a lot, especially before I had the shop in Cleveland. I used to use the story feature on Instagram, which flows through into Facebook a lot. And when I moved into the shop, I was still using it. And then I just slowly stopped using it. And when I actually got into the new shop, I did actually use the internet as an excuse for not posting. And that is true. Like when it takes 10 minutes, you know, to record and then upload a story, and you do 3 stories in a row, that's half an hour worth of time gone where I could actually be doing other things. So the internet hasn't helped, but I also just didn't feel like doing it. I didn't feel like showing my face. I didn't feel like showing excitement about new products. You know, a lot of the posts that I was doing, just, it didn't convey who I was a couple of years ago, you know, before all this started kicking in. And I have noticed that my sales were going down. There was no doubt about it. They were going down. And when I actually found out this year what was going on, and my GP helped me to get back on track, and I started feeling more like my old self, and I started showing up on social media again, I started showing that excitement for all the different things that I do, I gradually noticed that my sales started going back up. Even though we were still in a pretty tough economy at the time, my sales were still going up. The economy is slowly improving, so the two are actually working together. But I did say to hubby, I think if I hadn't found this GP, I would have lost my business this year. I would have closed it down because I just wasn't there. The sales were disappearing and everything else. And I said, I pretty much almost destroyed my business because of perimenopause, because there is not enough information out there for women. You know, I remember in school, all the girls got taken off for their special sex ed class and, you know, to teach them all about their body. And I remember you being taught about puberty, about your childbearing days, and then menopause. And they forgot this bit that goes in the middle called perimenopause. They forgot to tell about that bit and to tell you that this is probably the worst time that you are going to go through. There was not enough education about it, and there still isn't enough knowledge out there for people or for the women to understand that this is another phase and to get you through it. And it can really, really disrupt your life. But on saying all of that, I am feeling so much better, and I'm hoping by the time we get into the new year, I'll be feeling pretty much almost 100%. I won't feel 100% until the body's finished this section of life, and then we'll throw a whole new curveball in there and just go straight into menopause next. So who knows what that's going to bring. But because I am feeling so much better, I do have plans for 2026. I've had plans for the last few years. I've written them down in my books and I've just gone, can't be bothered, haven't done any of it. And in the last 6 months, I have implemented so many of the ideas that I've had over the last couple of years, done them in these 6 months, and I am exhausted. I am truly and utterly exhausted. But in 2026, I want to continue growing and trying to get back to where I was before I started losing that sort of drive. So some of the things, I really want to focus on the DIY body care website. I've not had enough time to focus on it. Again, the internet hasn't helped in my shop to get the stories and everything loaded. I do also need to take new photos to go onto that site, because I don't want to be using Soy and Shea photos on the DIY body care website. So I think slowly this year, as I start replenishing some of the products that are going on my shelf, I'll just remember to take one of those and take new photos for the DIY body care and really start actually promoting it and focusing on it, getting all those recipes on there. I know last month I did talk a bit about it on the vlog, and I also did a bit more work on the social media, and the amount of sales that came through it in the first 2 weeks of December were absolutely crazy. Like, I'd probably had more sales in those 2 weeks than I'd had in the last 6 months. It was just absolutely amazing. So I do actually want to focus on that a bit more, grow that a bit more as well. I do know that the Shopify things have a blog page as well that you can do. So I want to investigate that a little bit more and maybe start sharing a little bit through there. I also want to start pushing my wholesale a lot more as well. So currently I've got a few wholesale soaps and wholesale lip balms available on the website. You do need to make an account on the website and then tell me your business name so I can activate the wholesale access. And then you can see what soaps and things I've got on there. And I want to try and push that a little bit more, grow that wholesale range or grow the wholesale customers, because my ultimate sort of goal would be to create more work for myself, but actually create a new website for the wholesale range so that people don't have to necessarily create the account to see what the wholesale prices are. I don't want to reveal wholesale prices on my retail website. That is why you do need to log in and get me to give you access to those pricing. But I'm hoping to be able to push that a little bit more, use a few different selling avenues to get that out there and actually grow that side of the business so that when we are in those quieter times, I do have something else to fall back onto. And I'm also doing, like I do most years, I haven't done a lot for the last couple of years, again, just with how I've been feeling. But most years I do try to reflect and look at things within my business and get things changed over. And a lot of that does revolve around packaging. I want to start streamlining a few things within my shop. So instead of having like half a dozen different sized bottles for various products, if I cannot start actually putting them all into one size bottle, that's what I'm going to do. So currently I stock a 100 ml and a 250 ml aluminium bottle for my room sprays. They go in the 250, and then I've got the outdoor body spray, which is like my bug repellent spray. That's in 100 ml and a 250 ml. I then have my room and pillow mist, which is in 100 ml aluminium bottle. And I've looked, I'm thinking, I'm taking up so much space with all of this. Let's go down the middle and get some 150 ml aluminium bottles and phase out the other two sizes. So that basically means I only then have to store one size of bottle, and it's just streamlining things. Just having a look at other packaging that I've got out there instead of, basically having lots of different sorts of packaging. Can we actually start being a bit more cohesive with stuff? So I've been working through that. I've got some new products in mind that I want to bring out, and just trying to move and update my range a little bit as well. I've had a few things in my range that have been there for a while that have become a little bit stagnant. So we want to try and move all of that stuff around. So I'm really looking forward to 2026. Hopefully you guys will come along with me with more vlogs in 2026 as well. And I am going to make more of an effort next year with the videos. I know I've been a little bit slack with uploading them. Again, that is to do with how tired I've been, not wanting to sit and work on the computer. I've been wanting to do other things, but I am now feeling that energy again. So I'll try and get a little bit better with the uploading of videos. Talking of which, I know I did miss last week. I do have one soap video left to release this year, and then I'm just going to take a couple of weeks off just to reset myself, get myself back in line, and then I will bring out some fresh videos for you about midway through January of 2026. So before I sign off, I do want to say a massive thank you for all of your support, whether you're a Patreon member, a customer on Soy and Shea, the DIY body care website, you follow me on socials, or here on YouTube. All of that support is what keeps me going and keeps this business alive and going strong. So thank you so much for sticking with me throughout the year. It really does mean so much to me, because it's just proved that you just have to keep battling through, and you can do anything that you set your mind to. I do hope that you have a wonderful holiday season, that you get to have some relaxation time and spend it with some family and friends, and that Santa is good to you all as well. So thank you so much for joining me for this month's vlog. I hope you've enjoyed coming along. As always, just to help get the video out there to more people, if you have enjoyed it, why not leave a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video, there will be a soap one in 2025, but until 2026, I hope you have a good one, and I will see you then. Bye.